It's getting harder and harder with every day. Oh wait, this is an ending song, isn't it? Oh shit. Oh shit. Um. Um. Sure, why not? Why not? You know, I completely forgot that secondary characters existed. And people are apparently interested in Ophinia, which is interesting. I've said this a bunch of times, and I think that it's something that's worth revisiting from time to time. But, for one, that's a super expensive tier. I just like everyone's like, I wish I could date her. I feel there's there's a couple of points to be made, and the first one is, you would not have liked Ophinia if I had written her at the time, because I was in the wrong mindset. I treated this like a joke, and I was like, ha 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 ha, someone recommended this to me, what a dipshit. I ate all of those words. I ate them with a smile. But another one is that if I would have written Ophinia, like, seriously, with the mindset I have now, I could, technically. I don't have the art assets. I'd have to ask Delilah or someone to cook up some assets. But I'm not gonna do that. Not that I don't have the money, it's more that I don't want to spend the money. And I don't... And here's the thing. What am I gonna do with her? Because I need an arc. I need an angle for her character to exist in. And I feel that what would Ophinia be? I've already discussed this a bunch of times, but I feel that whatever she'd be like... She'd be Anna, but different. She'd be Anna, but she's constantly, like, making jokes and, like, not trying to get attached to people. And maybe that's just how she grew up, is she grew up with her parents, and her parents eventually ditched her. I got a whole side story for Ophinia and a character called 8, who would mostly show up as, like, a cameo for, like, ooh, mysterious character, who the fuck is she? She's got robot parts for arms and legs. But that's now. That would never fly if I had restricted it at the time. But I like the idea of she just pushes you away by being funny. You know, she's getting on your nerves, and when you stick around, she's like, God damn, you're serious about this, huh? And then she proposes, and it's like, okay, fuck. And it's like the serious question of, like, listen, I don't want you here. Like, the day comes, and you're like, and you're all for it, and she's like, you know, I don't want this. Like, I goof around, but I like the ephemeralness of reality. I like that things just happen and they go away, and then I don't have to worry about them again. Like, goddamn, I keep thinking about that. I keep wondering, what would I do? Because it's an important question that I want to answer for myself is, what would I have done? What would I have worked as Ophinia's, like, if she was a dateable character? What would her date be? The thing is, and I say this with, like, some reluctance, is she would have an encounter with the player. She would do what Anna and Bryce do, because it's just her persona to do that, because she doesn't give a damn, and she's kind of a hedonist. So that's one thing I know, is that eventually it's got to lead up to the player can do that. It might be the bad ending, actually. It might be like, that's how the relationship goes poorly, is you sleep with her, and she's like, man, so I fucked a human, huh? And the player character's like, really? That's all you got to say about it? And she's just like, hey, what did you expect? Like, after all of this, you expected me to what? Suddenly be a goody two-shoes? And if you deny that and just go for, hey, listen, why are you like this? Like, do you like, what happened? And she tells you her sad story, and she's like, you know, I really like dramatics and I like cliches, but for some reason I never bothered to tell someone that sad story, probably because it still hurts me. Now, okay, so to those of you who are wondering who 8 is, in the Angels of Scaly Wings RP servers, which I was part of and actually did some things with, sadly has died out, which makes me super freaking sad. I wish we could just do a reset and go back, because that was those were some golden days of fun and happy and good times, man. I can't. I just cannot. Man, I would love to do that. Because there were some great people. 8 is a character that is basically a Mary Sue for the most part. And for some reason they allowed her, and they were like, hey, she's actually kind of an interesting Mary Sue character. God damn, I fucked it up. But I like the idea of this character who was like, Ophinia would be the kind of person who would be like, okay, so you can go back in time. Why don't you just send, like, a robot back that can remember everything, and then you just have that robot go back and back and back until you don't need anything. Until you just have like, 8 is Ophinia having figured this shit out, having a feud with Azumi. Like, Azumi's like, what the fuck are you doing? And she's like, I don't give a shit. Like, Ophinia loses something, like, part of herself, or like, something happens. Like, that's, like, the worst ending, is you set 8 in motion. And 8 kind of references, and Ophinia and 8 kind of mention that in her bad ending of, like, okay, And 8's like, okay, this is how I was born, huh? Is you're dead on the ground and I get to do this? Okay, maybe you're not dead, but I'm gonna go back in time. I'll fix this. Don't worry. And sets into motion this growing event. And 8 is a cybernetic version of Ophinia, which is designed so. Oh god, this is just getting stupid. And if the people who watch who were in the RP server figure this out, they're gonna kill me for it. Essentially, the idea is that at a young age, Ophinia's parents were like, "Hey, we want to make some cool shit," and the cool shit they made is something. The idea was quantum immortality. What they actually made is someone who could feel their own death in other timelines. So whenever Ophinia did something and she made the decision that would result in her death, like when her other side would have died, she feels this shiver. And it extends to such a sufficient degree that she can sort of contact other versions of herself to some limited extent. And exchange places, like swap between those two timelines, which is the most she can do. 8 found a way to hijack that system. And she actually has like several titles. I think she was 8, she was 5, and she was Prime. She was the first one to start fucking around. She was the 5th one because of how it worked. Essentially, there's a chain. Like, eventually, as they progress along, they lose or gain contact with new ones. And so there's 8. And 8 was 5, or she was Prime, and she was another number. She was the first one who set it up. And there's sometimes discussion between, like, listen, we can do some dimension now, because I think the ones I had active at the time were ARMS, and ARMS had some mechanical arms, lives in a shit fucking universe that kind of got blown up. Then there's 8, who lives in Honky Dory Paradise and has looped, because that's the thing. That's the critical moment, is that you loop back in time to do it. So 8 is the 3rd time Ophinia has gone back in time to fix things, or not. I don't know. I don't remember how it exactly works. Point is, it's Utopia. And 8 is bored as shit, because in her world, she's effectively invented the singularity and is kind of just coasting it out from there. God, it's such an expansive story. The point is, 8 is kind of set into motion, because the player character sort of gives Ophinia that information. Like, he's like, listen, you have to take me to port. And Ophinia's like, why? And he's like, well, I can go back in time. And Ophinia's like, hey, you'll be fine. Like, I'll just call an ambulance, because I've got a plan. And she just walks back and slowly pulls out like a phone. Because the idea at Ophinia is she does shady dealings. Like, she is a hedonist, and she's done shady dealings with companies. She's smart. She's a prodigy. Better than Anna in some regards. Not really. I like to imagine she and Anna are sort of on the same level. Ophinia did a lot of shady shit with her young time, and made a lot of money, and is pretty rich. So she probably has like a robot somewhere she can send back in time. And the idea is to loop it. Is for one, to try and manipulate the coordinates, so that she doesn't have to see Izumi, because the one thing that Ophinia is, she's like, I hate Izumi, because I have to kill Izumi every single time. I have to kill Reza, and I have to kill the player character, because all these people are going to get in the way of my plans. Which is a nice explanation of, like, okay, what happens to this hedonistic character who thinks, like, she can do better? You should get, oh man, it's just, I don't know. Like, none of that would have been relevant. Like, the only part would have been relevant is, like, suddenly this incredibly, like, pale, extremely tall, decked out sort of cyberpunk dragon shows up, and you're like, who the fuck is she? And then Ophinia's like, oh, this is 8. Don't worry about her. Just move along. Just move along. Just keep walking that way. Oh man, it would have been great. Like, I would probably have said, like, okay, I don't care how much art of Ophinia you have to put away, or how much I have to chip in. I want there to just be a sprite where 8 pulls out like the hand cannon and goes, you're not going to tell anyone, are you? Because 8 may be 8, but Ophinia's sense of, like, wanting the dramatics out of a situation will always remain. Like, that gun probably wouldn't even be loaded. It just, like, 8, like, drops the clip before she pulls it out. Because she's a robot, she can do that. Man, that was a nice arc. Because I kept it under the rugs for a long time, and then I was like, okay, Ophinia got a head injury from someone. I think it was Aspero. And she got in the hospital, and was like, okay, we can fix this. And there was something with Zhang, oh man, so much. Ophinia and Zhang is the semi-official pairing. And then she got killed in Crossfire with a politician. And the idea was that 4 years later, when the future timeline takes place, which is another RP server, she comes back, primarily because 8's like, hey, yeah, I decided to just kind of sit on this for 4 years. How's that to you? And Ophinia's like, what the fuck, man? What the hell? And 8's just like, I don't care. What's in it for me? Like, I could just wait here all I want. And she'd only be alive because she was like, I want to be buried in a cryogenic chamber. And 8's like, okay, I could just take your bank account and stuff it in there. And just stuffed it in there and kicked it down a hole. I like the idea. Okay, so here's an important thing: is Ophinia carries with her a thermos, or something that looks like a thermos, and what it is because Ophinia can only swap, she can't exist in the same timeline twice. So 8 is a clone. This is an important detail. 8 is a clone with memories. So 8's not Ophinia, but just like a copy that doesn't qualify for the quantum rules because you can't have 2 in the same timeline. That's one rule I established: is you cannot have Ophinia twice because she is literally the same person. She's not time traveled. She is the same technical person. Which also means that coincidentally, if 8's ever taken down, that version of Ophinia is still fine. It's just a little thermals, which has like, I think the idea was that some sort of DNA or genetic code, like some sort of quantum code is in it, and it starts buzzing when someone tries to call. So it's like a way for them to communicate more efficiently, and it's just like, it's a fun little thing to bring up from time to time. Man, I talked a lot about stuff. Oh man, some people on that RP server, well, they're gonna be mad, but then it's like, okay, yeah, we're kind of done with that. Like, we're not gonna reboot it. If they reboot it, I might do Ophinia differently, but I like how she got introduced by, man, I'm so upset over that. I kind of want to go back to that RP server, but I don't want to go to the, Angel of Scaly Wings Discord because it kind of got taken over by someone else. A weird thing to say, but it kind of got taken over by Metalcore for a long while, and then it turned into all kinds of shit, and it stopped being the Angels of Scaly Wings Discord. Like, it got hijacked hard. Ugh. I'm actually super angry about that, by the way. I'm very angry about that. Because you can't just hijack someone's Discord like that. Oh, man. I just went through some stuff. Interesting. Very interesting. Man, I just went up memory lane and I think it sucks. Bleh. Oh, I'm so... Tuesday's gonna suck. I'm just already upset about that. It's gonna be terrible. I know what it's gonna be, and it's gonna be fucking garbage. Because I can't write a report, and it's gonna bite me in the ass, and it's just not worth the effort anymore at this point. Like, I just need a year off to come to myself and just whine. Oh, man, I can't take it anymore, man. On the other hand, I don't know if I want to sit still for a year. Like, this weekend of just doing nothing and just take a bit of time for myself has already been enough for me to go nuts. Like, I need something to do, even if it's just like a couple of days a week. I need something to do, and it needs to take my whole day up. It's interesting that this kind of technology doesn't exist, even though right now we're getting really hard on it. So that's an alternate future, I guess. You know what again that I really want to do is Ratchet and Clank. That series I kind of want to do an LP of, because I have a weird history with that. Interesting. So this by the way is like actual product. This is like actual project talk. I'll give him kudos, but this is actually what a business meeting would sound like about this. Is it'd be stupid and dry and you wouldn't give a damn. Oh man, I feel terrible about Tuesday. Tuesday's gonna be so bad. Man, it's gonna suck. Cause I don't want to get there, and I know this is gonna be the situation. Is I'm gonna be there, and they're gonna be like, by the way, we don't think you're gonna succeed. And I'm like, oh fuck no. All this time, all this effort for nothing. On the plus side, it means that I'll at the very least have some fucking time to myself, and I'll be in school a bit longer. Sure, it'll cost me some fucking money, but I don't know, man. Am I even ready to stop? Like, I learn every time, but it doesn't make this any more. Like, every time I fail, I run out of a business I can visit that can handle people like me. Like, ah! I think I'm gonna stop after this, even if it's not 200 lines, because fuck that shit. Why does this matter? Seriously, though! Why does this matter? Why does it matter that they're clones? Why does it matter that these dragons existed? They don't show up anywhere, do they? Backmates. No, that's a term I don't know. God damn it. I don't want to write right now. I don't know. It's weighing heavy on me, but at the same time, I kind of have to do this. Like, seriously, when you really get down to it, this scene is really protracted and serves no purpose. Like, what is the central narrative point of this? Like, what does this accumulate to? It would be interesting if, like, there's a dragon's, like the dragons have this origin story about the 3 clones. But that never happens. So you never get this really cool moment. It's like, hey! Instead it just happens, and you're like, okay, this is how the world works, I guess. But it doesn't do anything for me, so... Why did the portal break anyway? Like, what happened? It's interesting, by the way, that this is basically what Reza's going through. Like, every time it's like, gotta fix the portal. Oh, actually, I managed to make my 200 line model. Cool. Like, seriously, why the hell is this line here? Are they that desperate already? Also, can I say that this is a really culturally balanced team? We got a black, an Asian, 2 whites, we got 2 women, 2 men. Next time, Izumi kills some people, and this story just loses all of its relevance even more! The main plot points could have been condensed down to just a couple of handful of lines, but Mr. Saunders insisted that we have this just protracted conversation for some reason.